Hey guys. Um, we're starting a new reading unit. You guys did fabulous in the last one with our research clubs. You guys did phenomenal. I was so impressed with the level of research you were able to do, especially with our limited documents, because usually we get books from the library. You can check some out. Some have even brought books from home on animals and things. You guys did fabulous work. I was really impressed, especially impressed with the Google Slides and the things that you guys were able to do with that. We hadn't really had any training on that. And I didn't show you much on that because I didn't think we'd ever need it so much. You guys did fabulous work. So I'm super proud. Hopefully, the activity of sharing everything worked. We'll find out. So we're switching over to biographies. Okay, so some of you might know what a biography is, but a biography it's basically an account or a story that's of someone's life that was written by someone else. So that means that like Martin Luther King, there's a biography. Martin Luther King didn't write it; somebody else wrote an account of Martin Luther King's life. Um, Much like our research club, it would have been easier to have it in class where we have a lot of biography books. So we'll have to go through Epic and some other things again. You should be able to go to Epic, type in who you're going to choose, but that's what we will be doing is working on that. So there is the assignment, and then there's the document. And what you're going to be doing, you're going to be learning and notating information about the world, culture, the time period, and the setting, where this all took place, where your person lived or grew up. Okay. So that's what you're going to be doing and noting in your book. Okay. And so, much like we do in any of our books, especially this type of, this isn't fiction. These are real people. These events happened in their lives. Okay, so just like most of anything, you're going to ask yourself some questions. You're going to ask yourself, who is the main character? That's the book that if you chose Martin Luther King, or if you chose some of you guys like your wrestling people, some of you like baseball people, whoever it is, who is the main character and what kind of person was he or she. And so might be a little bit different than our fiction because a lot of our fiction books, the characters already. So the main character might be somebody you already know or somebody you're familiar with. And that's what I want to challenge you guys on. If you're not, you can go and search biographies and see if there's somebody like a Ruby Bridges or a Martin Luther King or anybody else along those lines. Make sure that you ask that question of when you start it, who the main character is or what the subject is and what kind of place does this person live in. Okay, so when you do decide on who it is that you're going to choose, um, ask yourself also, what do you already know about that character? And like we did in our fiction books that we knew, like when we didn't know much about like um, Opal or any of those other people. Um, but with we did in fiction, we can also study what they did every day, um, and what type of subjects were our biographies. What were they like, and what does this tell me about that person? Does it tell me that they shy away from things, or do they run head first and try to um, you know do something? Okay, so talk about that, or run those things through talk to yourself about that. You know, what does this tell me about this person? You can, like I said, in class, we had a lot of books of Martin Luther King. A lot of children chose those. But when you're looking for a biography, find something that you think is a little bit more in depth, a little bit more challenging. And then as you're going, and you should be taking notes, just like we do in most of our other reading, we would take notes like you did in that research topic that you guys just got done, we're taking notes. Ask yourself questions like, is this person's life easy and simple? Um, if not, if it's not, what obstacles are in their way? What stands in their way? What was the subject fighting for? Like if you're looking at like a Ruby Bridges or Martin Luther King Jr., those could be something along the lines of inequality or racial issues. Or what are they fighting against along those same things? And does the subject want to change something about his or her life or the world? And if so, what? And maybe even how are they going to do that? Okay. So those are things that you're asking yourself while you're doing your it's kind of like research, like we did with our animals. But if you open up that document on our writing assignment, it's kind of broken down to where you can start looking at exactly what it is, because it's labeled the structure of biographies, and so you're looking at like the birth and early life. What, you know, when were they born? Was it like 150 years ago, 200 years ago? You may be doing George Washington, Ben Franklin, Martin Luther King Jr. You can maybe look at people who were astronauts, sports figures, because I know a lot of you guys enjoy sports figures. What was their early life like? What was it like when they were born? When were they born? How were they when they were about your guys' age? Maybe if you can find out that information, maybe find out like if they were their what was their life like as a student or a young adult. You can find this information out. You might have to look. What were their struggles? Because typically, if somebody wrote something about them, a biography, there's something that they had to overcome, that they were struggling with. And then what was maybe the resolution in it or achievement? How did they wrap it up? What did they do to fix what they were fighting against or what they were wanting? And then how does that contribute to our history? Why would somebody else be interested in reading about this person, this character? Okay, so that's what you're doing in this, and that document that I put on and then the assignment in Google Classroom is to kind of house all your information. So again, much like we did with our writing and reading units, you find your journal, find you some paper that you can kind of keep together, and it will help you keep things organized. Okay, so we'll talk again. Good work.